So let's have a little chat, shall we? Gotta keep my voice down because I don't want to wake my friend up. But I wanted to talk, excuse me, I wanted to talk about Saucy Santana. I just want to get right into it. You know, I cannot just sit back and not say anything. I can't. The only reason that I'm talking about Saucy Santana, I believe that's his name, is because of the conversation that's being had right now in regards to the comments that he made about Blue Ivy. I'm not really here to touch on that. That's Beyonce's daughter. She can handle that. And even though, let me just say this much, I was 20 years old at one time too. No, when I was 20, they did not have social media. They did not have YouTube and, Instagram and Twitter and all of these other institutions that, you know, people like him have clung to and cling to like their lifeline because it is. It's their lifeline. But we had other things as well. We had other things in the early 2000s that we didn't have now. You get what I'm saying? We had other forums that we could speak on. We didn't have Facebook and none of those other things. I was 20 years old at one time too. And one thing that I did not do being 20 years old, knowing right from fucking wrong, is talk about people's children. Because I knew at 20 years old that you did not make remarks about people's children. You don't do stuff like that. To me, a little girl like Blue Ivy, at that time when I was 20, to me, she would have been a cute little girl, and I would have wanted to give her some ice cream. I would have been an uncle to her. But that's how I've always been with children, you know? So people, this is his response to people, pulling that old tweet. He says, stop all the crap, trying to ruin people's careers because you at home miserable and broke. Well, the thing about him is this. He's still broke. He is still broke. He's still broke. And I'm not talking about financially, I'm talking about in spirit. He's broke. I was miserable and broke too, making childish, hateful tweets in 2014. I'm 28 now. Oh, yeah, you're 28. That's a big milestone. I'm 28 years old, a grown ass adult, really. A completely different mindset on life from when I was 20. Only 8 years ago? Yeah, right. But y'all knew that. Like I said, when I was 20, I knew better than to put my mouth as a grown person because you were grown when you were 20 as well. You just weren't old enough to drink. Excuse me, my sinuses are bothering me. You were 20. You were grown when you were 20 when you made that statement about that child. And again, I'm not really here to, defend Blue Ivy. Her mother and father can do that for her. But I will say that his excuse for talking about a child who was and she was a very little girl, much younger than what she is now. But this excuse that he makes is very airy because he's a Libra. And this is what Libras do. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about what I'm saying. If you're a Libra, chuck it up and suck it up, buttercup. This ain't personal, this is spiritual. And Saucy Santana, he has a lot of spiritual issues. And I knew he was a Libra before I even went to confirm it. He was born on October the 8th. And this is what these motherfuckers do. They take no accountability for anything that they do. None. None. But that's another video. But I just wanted to address this first about the comments that he made about Blue Ivy, because this is why I decided to come through and make this video. Because that motivated me to talk about him, because someone else asked me about him. I did not even know who Saucy Santana was, because I don't keep up with these, in my opinion, newer, artificially talented, new entertainers. I don't keep up with them. Where's my water? I have my window open and my sinuses are bothering me. So that's that. So no, there's no excuse for what he said. At 20, you know right from wrong. And you're still miserable, and he's still broken in so many ways. Because when I was 20, I may have been broke as far as money, and I may have been a little broken, but one thing I was not was miserable. But he's both, and he admitted it. He's telling people who he is, and he's still this way. He has a very nasty spirit. He has a very nasty spirit. These motherfuckers in these fucking cars. It's 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. Who fucking does that? These weirdos riding around with these fucking loud motors at 3 in the fucking morning. Who does that? Who does that? Somebody that cannot sleep, that has a bunch of demons afflicting their motherfucking ass. They can't sit still in the house. At 3 in the morning, unless you're working, you shouldn't be riding around in the fucking street. That's crazy. But that's just me. So, as far as it, as it pertains to Saucy Santana and the shit that he said about Blue Ivy and his excuse, his excuse is some bullshit. He's a messy, typical gay dude. He's messy and he's typical, and I don't give a fuck what other gay person gets mad at me saying that, because read my description. I talk about everybody. I talk about straight people, I talk about gay people, I talk about whatever the fuck I want to, okay? And I think what people are not really looking at, they're not really looking at the energy of his response. He didn't apologize. He didn't say I was wrong. He just said I was miserable and broke, to making childish, hateful tweets in 2014. It's not sincere, because if it was sincere, he would have mentioned it before someone had to pull those old tweets and expose them. And he didn't do that. So, again, just wanted to touch on that a little bit about what motivated me to make this video, because everyone is talking about him. And someone had contacted, I heard something, and someone had contacted me and asked me what I thought about Saucy Santana, and I had never heard of him because I'm gay, so people always ask me, what do you think about this gay person or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I looked at his video called Walk. What a disaster. And I think that he should walk right out of the rap game. They have single-handedly destroyed rap. Rap has been infiltrated and it has been destroyed. And I'm saying this as a gay person, because gay people, we used to stay in our own lane. When it came to certain things, the rap game was for a form of storytelling for heterosexual men who grew up in the inner city who wanted to tell their story and experiences. It's almost like a hieroglyphic type of energy where you had to really have a good ear and a good spiritual eye to decode, or you had to be in that world in order to understand where they were coming from. There was a certain poetry and flowetry to rap. You understand what I'm saying? And now the rap world, the hip hop world, has been taken over by clowns like Saucy Santana. And I'm not saying this because he's gay, of course, because I'm gay as well. But I'm looking at the outfits that he's wearing. I'm looking at all of the degrading things that he's doing in the video. I'm looking at all of this and I'm examining all of this and I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute. You gay, okay, we get that. I'm gay too. And I'm not asking people to be like me. But when you are a person who has now become a major public figure, because he's a public figure now, and he is a representation for gay black men in rap, he is worse than Lil Nas X. He's worse. At least Lil Nas X could actually rap. He has more talent than him. So now let me get this straight. You notice you don't hear a lot from Lil Nas X anymore. So did they push him out of the way? And now Saucy Santana is really the image that they want to portray for gay black men. It's nothing wrong in dressing in drag and having drag shows. It's nothing wrong with that. But when we did it back in the day, we did it in our own phylum, in our own category. We didn't go up to the hustlers and the unless some of them were attracted to us, something like that. But we didn't go into, a hip hop place trying to do drag shows. They have totally ruined these agendas and all of this shit that I can, this mentality. It has ruined the energies. And see, that's what I'm focused on because I'm a spiritualist. I'm focused on the energies. I'm focused on the energy of this and what it has done to the energy of heterosexual black men. Because if their energy is being depleted, then ultimately that's going to affect us down the road as well. If black heterosexual women's energy is being depleted, that's going to affect us as well. Because contrary to what people may not want to accept, we come from heterosexual people. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about what I'm saying. See, I'm not a politically correct person, and I can look at things and say, this is some bullshit. Or what people say now, this is cap. You see how RuPaul has been successful most of his life, all of his life in this game? That's because RuPaul understood, hey, listen, this is my shit over here, and I'm going to stay in my category. Saucy Santana is a poor representation for gay people, and he's a poor representation for the hip hop community. It's one thing to be gay, but it's another thing to be a buffoon and a coon, and that's what he is. He's no different than what people say about Lizzo. He looks absolutely ridiculous. He looks absolutely ridiculous. And then he has the nerve to talk about and put his mouth on a child, a young girl child at that. Niggas in hip hop didn't do shit like that. They didn't do shit like that. And this is ruining the energy of hip hop and the rap game. Because rap was not about, and I don't care who gets offended by this, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. Rap was not about, and I'm telling you what I know, not what I fucking think. Rap was not about, and yes, I'm gay, let me say that again, but rap was not about this type of shit that we're seeing now. Rap was heterosexual brothers getting together and telling their stories, stories that affected all of us in the black community, in the Latino community, and people of color in general. Things that we went through as it pertained to police brutality. Things that black men and black women went through in their relationships with each other. Like the song with Pete Rock and CL Smooth. That's what I like that song. It's called Lots of Loving. That type of music, it told a story. There was an art form to that. And that's what I'm talking about. That's really what I'm emphasizing and talking about. There was an art form to rap and hip hop at one time. With people like CL Smooth, Pete Rock. You know, there was an art form to that. It was an art form that told a story. Even though I'm not into rap like that, I can still respect their art form. I can't respect something that is not really a true art form. There is no spirit behind Saucy Santana. I don't care what anybody says. And don't hit me up with he reminds you of Sylvester. No, the fuck he does not. Number one, Sylvester had talent. And Sylvester could actually sing. And Sylvester was connected spiritually because Sylvester is connected to certain Haitian deities. And let me just say that. And I don't give a fuck who gets offended about that either. Do something about it. Same thing with Luther Vandross. We knew that Luther Vandross was gay. We knew that. But there was a certain class that came along with that. It's nothing wrong with dressing in drag and stuff, but there's a time and a place for that because dressing up in drag gives off a certain energy and frequency and vibration. And it taps into a certain energy and level and a certain deity. Let me just say that much that I'm not going to get into on here. And that really has no place in the rap game. It has no place in the hip hop game. I said the same thing about Lil Nas X. And I know a lot of the brothers that are heterosexual, they don't like me. They don't like me because I'm gay. I get that. But it's a bigger picture. I don't give a fuck whether they don't like me because it's some people that are in hip hop on YouTube that I've communicated with. And they don't really like gay people and they don't like me that much. And I'm cool with that. It's not about them liking me. It's about examining these energies and saying, hey, look, this is not going to really be conducive for the legacy of hip hop. That is what I'm talking about. The legacy of hip hop has now been really degraded and shifted to a weaker type of energy. Because my issue is that the true message and the true energy of hip hop will be totally devalued and thrown away for this shit right here. Because there were true messages in hip hop. I'm not talking about, and let me say this first so no one won't get it misconstrued. I'm not talking about the disrespect of women and all that. I'm not talking about that bullshit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you had real artists like Tupac Shakur who told a story like Brenda had a baby, and I've talked about this before. Or even the song that I mentioned earlier, Lots of Lovin' with CL Smooth and Pete Rock, where they talked about their love for black women and how black women's beauty really turned them on. That creates a whole frequency and vibration that everybody that is black can eat off of. And we can use that energy. But this, with Saucy Santana, no. 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 We cannot use that in that way. Now, if he was going to be a gay person who was going to rap, that would be one thing. But all of the added aesthetics in this comes off, and all of the movements and, the way he's moving his energy, all of that comes off coonish and buffoonish. And now the legacy of rap is going to be this. This is going to be part of the legacy of rap. If he was just a gay rapper, dressed appropriately, respecting the energy of rap, respecting the people that came before him. You're not paying homage to the people that came before you, the brothers that came before you, doing something like this. Black heterosexual men have enough issues as it is in the rap game. But I guess the question is how did this happen? Oh, that's right. The LGBT community, right? Oh, I know what you all want to say. Oh, Seer, you're gay. How could you say that? Because I can. Because the the LGBT, I was going to say movement, I guess I can say that. The LGBT community really has nothing to do with gay people. It has to do with institutions pushing out agendas. And the agenda to destroy rap and the agenda to destroy the storytelling of rap that belonged to heterosexual black men and their energy is a problem. That's a problem. Because now it's not about having talent. It's just about pushing agendas. Or we can do this too. No, the fuck you can't, because you don't have the right energy for that. Rap is dead. Black rap is dead. The black hip hop community, the black rap community has been invaded by outsiders. It has been invaded by aliens. And when I say aliens, I'm not talking about from outer space. I'm talking about species of energies. It's been invaded. And then the worst thing about it is this. He's a gay man who was 20 years old using a child as his way to get into the rap game, to sacrifice her fucking energy by talking about her hair. Rappers didn't used to do hip hop. Real black male hip hop artists, they didn't do that back in the day. And I could tell you that for real, for real. If they had beef, it wasn't with no woman's hair. They had beef with other niggas. They didn't do bitch ass shit like this. And gay black men back in the day didn't do bitch ass shit like this. And I dare any motherfucker challenge me on that, male or female. Gay black men and black, they didn't do this type of shit back in the day. And see, shit like this is what creates the culture that we live in now. You wonder why we have this weird culture where everything is backwards. People can't make no motherfucking money on YouTube no more hardly because this is the type of shit that YouTube promotes now. YouTube was better when celebrities were not on YouTube, when their videos were not getting millions and millions of views. When YouTube was for your average person. But then they started the monetization program. Then it went from monetizing average people to now these broken, miserable celebrities like Saucy Santana and a lot of these other ones. Now they've come onto YouTube and they've taken over where YouTube was for your average person to have conversations with other average people. And we've lost that art form. Just like we've lost the art form of rap and hip hop because people want to push agendas. And truthfully, what he said about Blue Ivy is really not surprising because hip hop artists of today, isn't that all they do is talk about black women's hair and talk about black women? Isn't that what they do now? They didn't do that back then. Yeah, they may have said bitch and hoe and shit like that. Yeah, we get that. But the way that they degrade black women now, that's a totally different beast and a totally different energy. And he's no different. Saucy Santana is no different. He is a gay coon and buffoon who is trying to impress, to be blessed. But he won't be blessed in the long run because his fire is going to burn out quickly. The harder you burn, the faster you go out. And he's going to go out. He's going to go out. That is an absolute travesty. I never really took the time to look at him, but I was feeling a certain type of way in my spirit, not about necessarily about what he said about Blue Ivy, not about that. But it's just the image that he promotes and the image that he's putting out to the world about gay black men of a certain size. He has no self-respect. He has no dignity. Even James, what's his name? Even though he was embroiled in some controversy, but even James, what's his name? James, the guy that sung the Patty for the Patty Pies. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Even he had some respect for himself. That's talent right there. And I don't know why he is not in the music industry. Because even he has more respect and decorum for himself as a gay man than this Saucy Santana person. But Saucy Santana is just a mere piece of sand or sand pebble on the beach. There's always somebody else behind that or behind somebody like him pushing out these agendas. That video walk or whatever, it was absolute garbage. He doesn't, the words don't even flow when he speaks. Now, if he did this in a club scene, that would be different. But to promote him and to lift him up as a hip hop artist in a game that was designed for heterosexual black men to tell their stories, that's disempowering them. That's disempowering the black community. Because no matter what you say about hip hop artists and rappers back during that time, not this bullshit now, no matter what you may say or think about them, that was a force that we used in the black community to get through certain things, to help fight certain injustices. And now that has even been disempowered because these dumb fuck weak ass black rappers that they have now, they ain't shit. Oh, that's right. They're too busy putting on dresses and that shit he had on in that damn video. Rap is dead. The black hip hop community is dead. Rap is dead. There are no real rappers or hip hop artists anymore. There are no real ones like it's dead. The genre is dead. And the older than the OGs, they've been pushed to the side. They've all been pushed to the side. And all the white boys, they're making all the money. And now I guess, coons like Saucy Santana. All the white boys, Jack Harlow and Eminem, and then, Rakim, he just gave Eminem he gave Eminem the keys to the cookout and said he's one of his favorite rappers. I'm like, really, Rakim? Really, nigga? Out of all of the black rappers you can name, you name Eminem. And then we wonder why we got Saucy Santana walking around sashaying. Y'all niggas really can't be mad because y'all helped to create this. You helped to create it. Some of you. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I just had to give my 2 cents on this, and I had to expound upon everything that I've been hearing about Saucy Santana. I'm not impressed. I like Lil Nas X more than I like him because at least Lil Nas X, at least he does have talent. At least he has some talent. And at least wasn't he into the country western shit too? He's multi-talented. I don't agree. I don't like some of the ways he's being used in agendas either. But at least he has some talent. This person, there's no talent there. He's average. He's average at best. But this is the way the world is moving, and this is the energy that they're putting out into the world, that it's okay for people to do some of the shit that he does and get rewarded for it. Everybody's a star. Everybody is talented. I'm done talking about this shit. Gotta go.